Aloha kako. Are you living paycheck to paycheck? Are you finding out that you're always buried in debt and you have no choices, right? You just feel like there's no way out? Well, I definitely feel like you are stuck between a rock and a hard place, right? No options. Trust me, I've been there, done that, and I am not going back. That's why I decided to teach myself financial education. And today's episode, I would like to talk about room for error. Just got off of work. Recall at Waimanalo was a really good shift. Peeps, I'm hustling. I'm telling you, I'm hustling. Life of a hustler. This is me right here. I'm going to work when I can, because I know I can. Right now, my body allows me to work. I don't want to work forever, and it's not going to be forever. So when you hustle, it's not going to be forever. Just remember that. But there has to be some hustle. There has to be. You cannot just think like, tomorrow. Do it tomorrow. I'm going to do this tomorrow. You know, like those retirement years are way ahead of my lifetime. I don't even worry about them right now. No. You need to worry about it now. You need to worry about it yesterday. Because time flies by so fast, and you gotta know by now that things are not cheap, right? Things are not cheap. Again, if you're working a 9-to-5 job, you're only working to survive. That's no bueno. You have to start working more, especially if you're living in Hawaii. Kane, I'm talking to you. Much love, my fellow Kane, Kanaka out there trying to survive, living in Hawaii. Mixed family, blended families, right? We got stuff we gotta pay for, and that's just the basics. That's your expenses. If you still want all that like extra stuff for just you, that means you gotta work more than the 9-to-5. You know, credit cards, loans, all that stuff. You're not gonna get anywhere far. You're gonna be buried in debt to try to pay for stuff that you need. So you have to work more. You have to know how to make your money work hard for you. You have to start a business so that way you can write off your expenses to keep more of your money so Uncle Sam doesn't take it. We will still pay Uncle Sam. We have to. It's just how it is. You know, if you don't like it, move out of the country. Complaining about it does nothing. You can not pay your taxes, but that stuff sticks with you, and you could go to jail for it. You know, like if you think by keeping things under wraps, Uncle Sam knows all, sees all. I know many of you are like, oh, that's messed up, that's effed up and all that stuff, but okay, yeah, it is. So what are you going to do to change it? Nothing. You cannot do anything to change it because that's how it is. It was like that well before us, well before our parents, well before our generation, all that stuff. That's just how it is. So let's learn let's learn the rules. Let's learn the rules of the game. Because when you learn the rules of the game is easier to be played. And you're going to play it just like those that are making it happen. Okay? This stuff is not only for the elite. This stuff is not only for white people or Asians or whatever, the stereotypes of who we think is rich compared to Hawaiians. We can do that shit too. So stop complaining. The victim mentality thing is a no bueno thing. All right, so let's get to the episode of Room for Error. Now, this plays directly into an emergency fund, okay, which is one of the 4 levels of a strong financial foundation. Again, to recap, the first one is proper protection. Second is debt management. Third is emergency fund. Fourth is investing. So emergency fund. In the book Psychology of Money that I'm reading, again, I'm not an affiliate of it. I don't get paid to talk about it. I just love to share. And how to connect that to finances. Excuse me. So it talks about, in a nutshell and overall, is that we need to prepare for the unexpected. Saving doesn't have to be for a reason. Although it's easy to put reasons or purposes of what we're going to save for. You're going to get a vehicle, you got to save for it. You're going to buy a house, you need to save for it. You want to go on a trip, you want to invest or whatnot, you need to save for it. You need to spend money to make money. Hopefully you're spending money to make money, not spending money just to spend money, right? That's what gets a lot of us into trouble. But you need to save money. You need to have some kind of a buffer to help protect you against the unforeseen things. Like the biggest unforeseen thing that all of us was sideswiped by, COVID-19. Did we all forget about that already? COVID-19? How many of you, comment down below, because I love your comments, how many of you was affected directly by COVID-19? Lost your job, got sick, now you have medical bills. I don't know if the government's taking care of your medical bills that you have to go to the hospital for because of being sick with COVID. I don't know. I mean, those are the main things. You lost your job, right? Your income is affected somehow, and now you got to pay more because of bills or medical bills or, you know what I mean? Like rent or back rent, because the government, you think that they're going to help you, but they're not. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to postpone you paying rent or paying mortgage now. They're only moving it to the back end of your stuff. So you're still going to pay it. You're just not paying it now. You're paying it later on down the line. So realistically, you're still having to pay. But now you don't have an income because of COVID. Like your job got shut down, or, you know what I mean? Like the hospitality field is such a big thing in Hawaii, and that stuff was halted. A lot of people lost their jobs or were postponed, furloughed on their jobs, and it couldn't work. If you didn't have an emergency fund, how hard was your living situation during COVID, which lasted like what, a year? 2 years? I am not very good with time, but I know it's roughly a year or two, right? Those are unforeseen things. That is just one of many unforeseen things that happened throughout history. You know, another one was 2008, 2007, the housing market crash. That dragged the whole economy down, put us into a recession. 9/11, the dot-com bubble, that happened, you know? All these things were unforeseen. People can still save for stuff, but if you're not saving all the time and you're only saving periodically here and there, when those things hit you, you're going to be in a lot of trouble. 80% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. If you're living paycheck to paycheck, that means you're not saving. So 80% of Americans, by the rates and by the statistics, were in hot water because of it. And I'm sure this is statistics that happened before COVID. After COVID, I'm curious to see what those statistics are now. Like if they're worse. So just to recap on emergency fund, we want to try to save at least 3 to 6 months worth of your monthly income, right? What is that magic number that you make? You probably get paid twice a month, right? What is that number per paycheck, and what does it add up to? Because you need to save up at least 3 to 6 months worth of that as a buffer to prevent you from getting into more debt. Because if you don't have that buffer, what do you think is going to happen? Where are you going to get the money from when stuff happens that's unforeseen? You lose your job. You know, my coworker just today said that one time he came home and his laundry room was flooded, right? Or your car breaks down, or your kids got to get braces, or you get into an accident and then your cars bust up. You know, the list goes on and on. Where are you going to get the money from? And you're going to have to pay for it right away. You're probably going to have to tap into your savings if you have any. Or you're going to take out a credit card, right? Or you're going to take out a loan. Like credit, people will say it's good for you. No. I want to tweak that. It's good for you if you're good with money. But again, statistics shows that many people are not. 8 out of 10 people in a room are not. So therefore, a credit card, if you do have, is going to get you into hot water because you don't know the basics of money. You don't know the basics of your finances. If you can survive with just cash for like, maybe, I would say, I'll be lenient, 6 months, right? I want to say a year. Try to put yourself on just cash is king for a year. You know, what kind of excuses, comment down below, what kind of excuses arise in your mind that tells you, no, I got to have a credit card. Oh, I'm going to miss out on this. What is that? Let me guess. Points or cash, you know, or like some kind of either points for flying or points for a hotel or points for a freaking bag or something. Like the Dave Ramsey peeps over there, they said that it's like walking over $1 to pick up a quarter. That's like the the metaphor they use to compare or to say what a credit card is, that you're willing to put all this money into a credit card for money, to use money you don't have in order to get a benefit that's not even as much as the amount that you're putting in. So therefore you're walking over $1 to pick up a quarter. That's what they mean. And that's true. I have maybe 5-6 credit cards, but I'm good with my money. I'll boast that. I'm good with my money, because why would I be having these videos if I'm terrible with my money? Yes, I am human as well too, and I do get into a pickle sometimes, but I really do my best to get out of it. I don't just let it ride and let the interest rates build up, because it will. Or I don't do the worst thing is I take out another credit card to pay for this credit card. And then I'll take out another credit card to pay for that credit card. And all you're doing is just shifting the debt. You're not taking care of it. You're paying off one that to get that out of the way for the one that's behind it. That's all you're doing. So having an emergency fund is very, very important. It's going to help keep you out of trouble for the unforeseens, because the unforeseens will come. They're there. They're just waiting. And even and they say even saving now, say you are saving, statistics show the average American only doesn't have anything more than $400 to $500 in your savings. So even if you are technically saving, that's not enough. What does $400 to $500 pay for nowadays? I don't know. I mean, it'll pay for liabilities. It's enough to pay for you to maybe blow without getting any return back, because anything good that can get you a good return for the amount of money that you spend for is going to cost more than $400 to $500, guaranteed. So you'll be wiped out if there's any emergency that arises. And if you think that you're good and you think it's not going to happen to you, you really like to gamble. I'll put money down. Don't do that. That's not good. You got to start preparing. There's this story that they said in the book about the German army, and they had 120 tanks. It was a tank brigade, or whatever the hell you want to call it. So they're situated on the field, on the battlefield, and out of 120 tanks, less than 20 worked, right? All these German, tank builders and stuff, the best of the best, were creating all these state-of-the-art at the time tanks. And they were just not working. Come to find out, the one thing that took out more than half of your army were mice. The mice would go into the tanks and they would eat through the insulation and they'd eat through the wires, and that's what screwed up all the tanks. So out of 120 tanks, only less than 20 were working, all because of mice. So that's an example they say where these tank builders probably prep the build of these tanks for every case scenario that they could think of, but nobody would ever think about mice taking down their brigade or their tank unit or whatever the hell you want to call it, right? So I thought that was a pretty interesting and amazing story, where bringing it to finances, you can think you're prepared. I mean, even if you are trying to prepare for something, which most aren't, but we want to change that you will hopefully foresee every possibility that could ruin you, but you still will not be ready for every possibility. Again, COVID. Of all the things that happened in the past, wars, 9/11, housing market, all that stuff, majority of us don't even know or pay attention to the market, but we're all affected by it. Our money is affected by it. Our house properties, everything is affected by it. Rent is affected by it. Fuel, food, everything is affected by it. But nobody would ever guess that those things could happen. And when it did, that's when big shifts in the market happened. That's when jobs were lost. That's when inflation was on a rise. Interest rates on loans and everything just got screwed up, right? The most recent one, again, is COVID. That's the mouse. That's the mouse that takes down the freaking tank. That's crazy. I hope that, these kind of stories that we share and that I'm sharing with you is enough to make you think, because it's definitely making me think. Like, I can honestly say our finances are in good shape, but we can always, or I can always better it. There's always room for betterment. To better everything in your life, spiritually, mentally, financially, all of the above, relationship wise, everything can always be bettered. But if you're comfortable, you won't notice those things. You won't try to strive to better yourself. So try your best to get on your finances. To get to that level of 3 to 6 months worth, you got to do the other steps too. Like nowadays, I'm hearing a lot of people that are like stocks and tech stocks and Robinhood and all that stuff, or going to like Vegas and gambling, doing scratch offs and stuff like that. Like, everybody wants to get the quick fix, was to get that one in a million hit on the lottery or whatever, to where when they win all this money, it's going to take care of all my problems. But that's the financial foundation upside down, right? You're going to try to go to investing and gambling to get all this money, but if you're not having a very strong financial foundation, then you're just going to lose the money. You can get all the money you want, you're just going to blow it because you don't know how to maintain that money, right? Just like people that lose a dramatic amount of weight, maybe through gastric bypass or whatever. Like, I talked to somebody recently who had gastric bypass, and she joined a group to, I'm assuming they joined the group just so they can assist each other into the transition of losing all that weight, which is important, because it's such a drastic change that people need to talk about it. You need to reset your mind on changing your habits. And she told me that out of 10 of them, 8 of them gained the weight back, even after gastric bypass. That's crazy. That's just like the percentage of Americans, 80% of Americans that are living paycheck to paycheck. Even 6 figures earners are living paycheck to paycheck. So mentality is there too. And which is still the core of anything that we do. Your mental status, your knowledge of stuff, financial education, the core stuff to know why you need to do these things and to persevere through all the hardships that's going to happen when you change. Talking with me, talking with people that are like-minded, that's your support group. Just like the gastric bypass. It all connects into one. And when we can still do this, you'll gain better habits, you'll be much more confident, you'll be courageous, you'll be happier, you'll definitely have better sleep. Because I've been there, and I know family and friends that have had terrible nights sleeping because they don't know if they're going to be able to pay their mortgage, or they don't know if they're going to be able to pay their rent, or if the electricity is going to shut off, or whatever, because they don't have the money to take care of it, because they don't have the knowledge to maintain it, the wealth that they work so hard to create, but you're just blowing it. All this is very important. I want all of you to be able to have an open mind to try. I mean, it's a new year coming up, okay? It's already December. It's a new year coming up. Let's try something new. Let's get on a budget, okay? Let's work on getting on a budget. If you need help, message me on this feed, Kanakapreneur, leave a comment, right? And we'll talk. Let's just go over stuff. Again, I'm a financial educator, but I'm not the master at it. I'm just like you, where you can build a strong financial foundation and we can work from there, okay? Like, you don't have to be a master at it. You just gotta take the first step to wanting to learn, and you can learn from there, okay? Write down goals is another thing. Write down your goals of why you're gonna wanna put yourself through this change. That's important. If you're gonna do it just to try to check to see, you're not gonna do it good. You're not gonna be serious about it. You must be serious about this, because it's a change. You want to change your life? Do you want to change your life? Do you want a better life than you have now? Or do you want to stay the same? Your life must be really, really good if you just want to stay the same, working paycheck to paycheck and thinking that the world is flowing with you and there's not going to be any hardships coming your way in the future. It's going to be smooth sailing. If that's you, hey, cool, whatever's, But for those of you that want to change, Let's do it. I'm here to support you. Message me. Leave a comment down in the bottom that says, I'm down for change. And let's talk about it. Okay? Almost home. It's a beautiful day in Hawaii. Just like you guys. You guys are beautiful. I believe in you. Anything's possible. The mind is such an amazing equipment. It can push the body farther than the body can ever think it can go. Ka'ohu ka'alasito here, aka Kale. Oh, by the way, like and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. This is your monetary mana'o of the day. You guys have a great day. Aloha.